funny, isn't it? How a person can hold on to every coin, watch every dollar, count and recount what little they have, and still feel poor. You live careful, you think before you spend, you take pride in not wasting. You tell yourself, if I just keep saving, one day it will add up. And yet, the years pass and the jar never seems to fill. It is a strange thing, the way money slips away without you ever being careless, almost like water evaporating from a sealed jar. You cannot see it leaving, but somehow, when you look again, there is less, and you start to wonder if maybe you've been missing something far bigger than a few dollars saved. I have seen this before. Many times men and women who work hard, live modest, avoid the showy life. They cut their own hair, mend their own clothes, never buy what they do not need, and still, they are one emergency away from starting over. The world has taught you that saving is the path to wealth. Your parents told you, your teachers hinted at it, and there is some truth there, of course. But saving alone is like filling a bucket that has a slow leak at the bottom, no matter how careful you are. If the hole is still there, you will never see it full, that hole. It's not just expenses, it's time, it's inflation, it's opportunity you never took because you were too busy guarding the little you had. You see, money is not just something you keep. It is something you set in motion if you trap it. It weakens. If you let it move with purpose, it grows. But I know what you're thinking. That's risky. I work too hard for this money to just put it in danger. And I understand. You've seen people lose everything chasing something shiny. But that's not what I'm speaking of. I'm speaking of the quiet courage it takes to trust your money to work for you, the same way you've worked for it all your life. You've been taught to be a saver, but perhaps no one taught you to be a grower, and without that, saving becomes a kind of prison. You feel safe inside, but nothing changes. The walls don't move, the door never opens, somewhere along the way. You confused avoiding loss with building wealth. They are not the same. You can avoid loss for 30 years and still be broke at the end. Because the world doesn't stand still just because you do. Prices rise, needs change, storms come, and if your money has been sleeping all that time, it wakes up smaller than you remember. I've seen men work 50 years like this, and on their last day, they look at the numbers and realize it was never enough. Not because they were lazy, not because they were foolish, but because they were holding the wrong map. Saving is not the destination, it is only a road. And if that road doesn't lead somewhere that multiplies what you've saved, it will simply run out, and you will be left at the edge wondering how you walked so far and still ended up here. You can save every penny, you can watch every expense, but if you never learn how to make a dollar become two, you will always be chasing enough, and enough will always stay just out of reach. You see, money has a strange nature. It's not like a brick you stack and forget. It is more like a seed. It will only grow if you put it in the soil. And once you do, you cannot watch it every minute. You must let it do its work underground. But that means letting go of control, and for many people, that is the hardest thing in the world. You've worked too long to risk seeing it vanish. You tell yourself, at least if I keep it, I can't lose it. But you can lose it without ever spending it. It loses strength quietly. Year after year, the price of food rises, rent rises, your needs rise, and the money you've kept so tightly in your hands no longer buys what it once could. You didn't waste it, but it's still faded, like bread left too long in the cupboard. There's a fear we don't speak of, the fear of movement. We call it being careful, we call it being wise, but sometimes it is only fear wearing nice clothes. You imagine all the ways something could go wrong. And so you do nothing, and doing nothing feels safe. Until it isn't. I've watched people hold their savings like a child holding a balloon, afraid that if they let it go, it will drift away and be gone forever. And yes, there is risk in letting it go. But here's what they forget. The balloon will also shrink if you hold it too long. The air will escape slowly, and one day, without any drama, it will be empty in your hand. The rich understand something the fearful do not. They know that money that sits still is dying. They accept that. Not every seed will sprout, but enough will. And those that grow will feed them for years to come. You might think, easy for them. They have more to lose. But that is the trap. They have more because they took that step when they had less. They didn't wait until it felt safe. Because it never truly feels safe. It feels uncertain. It feels uncomfortable. And that discomfort is the doorway. Most people never walk through. It is strange how the same fear that protects you can also imprison you. It shields you from loss, but it also blocks you from gain. It keeps you from falling, but it keeps you from climbing. And so you spend years circling the same ground, worn paths under your feet, the same view, the same worries, the same nights lying awake, guarding something that is quietly slipping through your fingers. We do not realize how small our world becomes when we only think about keeping. We stop imagining, we stop creating. Every decision becomes about holding the little we have, instead of building more, and slowly, without noticing. We forget what growth even feels like. You save every penny, you cling to it like a lifeline. But a lifeline is meant to pull you toward the shore, not keep you floating in the same place forever. If you never move toward something greater, the line becomes a tether, and a tether, no matter how strong, is still a chain. There is a certain comfort in thinking you are safe. You look at the balance in your account, you know what is there. It hasn't gone anywhere. It feels solid. It feels certain. And certainty is rare in this world, so you hold on to it. You tell yourself, at least I can depend on this. But safety is a feeling, not a fact. It is like sitting in a house with the doors locked. The walls may keep out the wind, but they cannot stop the years, and the years change everything. They change what you need, what things cost, what your body can do, and slowly, what felt like enough begins to feel like barely, then not enough at all. You may not notice it at first. It is a slow erosion, a drip of water that carves stone over decades. One day, you wake up and realize the numbers have not moved, but their power has. The same amount that once made you feel secure now makes you feel nervous, and nervousness is the shadow that follows false safety. The danger of living only in preservation is that the world does not preserve itself for you. It moves on, it grows, it changes, and if you are not growing with it, you are shrinking in it. I've sat with men who worked their whole lives believing they were being wise. They avoided debt, they avoided waste, they kept their hands steady on the wheel, but they forgot that the road was moving beneath them, and one day they looked up and realized they were far behind, not because they turned back, but because they never moved forward. It is easy to mistake stillness for safety. When you sit still, nothing seems to threaten you. No storms, no mistakes, no losses. But stillness has its own cost. It costs you the growth you could have had. It costs you the opportunities that passed quietly by. It costs you the strength your money could have built while you were guarding it. Think of a farmer who keeps all his grain locked in a barn. He tells himself it is safe there. But grain is meant to be planted. Kept too long, it rots, and when the time comes to sow, he has nothing that will grow. What he kept has turned into something useless, and what he feared losing has been lost. Anyway, your money is no different. It needs to work. It needs to breathe. It needs to be put into motion in ways that make it worth more tomorrow than it is today. If you hide it away for too long, it will betray the very safety you sought. Because safety that does not grow is only an illusion, and illusions have a way of fading when you need them most. You can spend years thinking you are protecting yourself, when in truth, you are only postponing the moment you must face the truth. And the truth is this: what you keep will not keep you, not unless it is allowed to grow beyond what it is today. There is a line, invisible but sharp. On one side is the world of protecting money. On the other is the world of multiplying it. Most people spend their entire lives on the first side, because it feels familiar, it feels safe, it feels like control, protecting. Money is about holding on. You work for it, you store it, you watch it. Every decision is about not letting it leave. It is like a shepherd guarding his flock at night. Eyes always on the wolves, but never on the pasture, and slowly, without realizing it, the grass grows thin, the flock grows weaker, because safety without growth is only a slow decline. Multiplying money is a different world entirely. It is not about watching the wolves. It is about finding richer pastures. It is about moving, planting, risking, not recklessly, but with understanding. The farmer who multiplies his harvest knows. Some seeds will not sprout, but he plants them anyway, because the loss of a few is nothing compared to the gain of the many. When you live only to protect what you have, you begin to believe that every loss is fatal, and so you stop reaching, you stop trying, you stop stepping into places where money can grow, and in doing so, you stop your own growth. Your money does not grow without you, and you do not grow without it. I have met people who thought they were playing it safe, keeping all their savings in one place, never touching it, never risking it. And they looked at those who invested, who built businesses, who took chances, and thought, they are reckless. But years later, the reckless ones have more, not because they never lost, but because their gains outweighed their losses, while the savers kept exactly what they had, and then quietly had less. You have to understand, protecting is not a sin. It is necessary at times, but it cannot be the whole story. A shield is not a home. It may keep you safe in the moment, but you cannot live behind it forever. To multiply your money, you must allow it to move. You must place it in the hands of work, work that grows, not just for others, but for you. This might mean learning to invest. It might mean starting something of your own. It might mean trusting a process that feels uncertain. But the point is this: money left alone cannot become more. And if it is not becoming more, it is becoming less. The rich are not rich because they never spend. They are rich because they know where to spend, so that the spending returns to them multiplied. They treat money like a worker. They send it out with a task and expect it to come back with something more than it left with. You treat money like a prisoner, locked away for its own safety, and in time, it loses its strength in the dark. There is a choice in front of you. Keep protecting until there is nothing left to protect. Or learn to multiply, slowly, wisely, but without hiding, because hiding is not safety. And safety without growth is only the road to less. Fear rarely calls itself fear. It prefers to wear better names. It will call itself caution. It will call itself prudence. It will even call itself wisdom. And because those names sound noble, we invite fear to stay. We trust it. We let it guide our choices. Not knowing it is quietly keeping us small, you tell yourself, I am just being careful. I am only avoiding mistakes. I am protecting my family. And perhaps in the moment you are, but there's a fine line between protecting and preventing, and fear has a way of making sure you never cross that line. I have seen men with great ideas that could have changed their lives. But they looked at the risk, they looked at the small chance of failure, and they stepped back. They told themselves, it's not the right time. They called it wisdom, but I could see it in their eyes. It was fear. Fear of loss, fear of embarrassment, fear of stepping into the unknown. The trouble is, fear does not announce what it costs you. It lets you feel safe in the moment, but it robs you in silence. It takes away the chances you never took, the doors you never opened, the seeds you never planted. And by the time you realize it, the seasons have passed, the soil has gone cold, and you are left with the comfort of knowing you never lost, but also the truth that you never gained, wisdom. And fear are not the same. Wisdom looks at risk and says, let us prepare well, then step forward. Fear looks at risk and says, let us stay where we are. Wisdom knows there will be setbacks. Fear demands certainty before it moves. And because certainty almost never comes, fear ensures you never move at all. I remember an old neighbor of mine. He had saved for years, always talking about how one day he would open a small shop. Nothing fancy, just a place he could run with his wife. But each year, he found a reason to wait. The market was too unstable, the rent was too high. Something might go wrong, and so he saved and he waited until the day came when his health failed, and the money that was meant to build his dream was now paying for medicine. He never opened that shop, and yet, he told me once, at least I didn't lose my savings. I didn't have the heart to tell him that, in truth, he had lost something far greater. Fear will offer you that kind of trade. It will give you the illusion of keeping what you have, in exchange for never finding out what you could have had. And if you accept that trade too many times, you end up rich and nothing but regrets. So you must ask yourself, when you say you are being wise, is it truly wisdom? Or is it fear in disguise, keeping you in a life that feels safe, but is slowly shrinking around you? There is a strange kind of loss that few speak of. It is not the loss of money spent or lost to mistakes, but the loss of what never happened. The chances you didn't take, the doors you never opened, the dreams you tucked away because they felt too far, too risky, too uncertain. You can count your coins and know exactly what you have, but can you count the opportunities that quietly passed you by? The moments when you hesitated, when you said no to yourself before you even tried, those moments add up in ways you cannot see, like footprints left in soft earth, fading slowly, but once gone, never coming back. I have met men and women who carry the weight of their missed chances in their eyes. They speak of what-ifs like they are old friends. What if I had started that business? What if I had learned a new skill? What if I had trusted my money to work for me? And the truth is, those questions are not just regrets. They are shadows of the life that might have been. The cost of missed opportunities is not just financial. It is a quiet ache, a slow shrinking of hope, a fading of the possibility that once burned bright. And it can be harder to bear than any debt, any loss, any mistake when you protect too much. You freeze time. You stop your money from growing, but you also stop yourself from growing. You stay in a safe harbor while the rest of the world sails on, and one day you realize the harbor is empty. The ships have moved on without you, and the future you dreamed of has sailed away. It is not too late, but you must see the cost clearly. The cost is not just what you risk losing if you try. It is what you lose by never trying at all. You may save every penny, But the true wealth comes when you let those pennies reach out. Reach out into the world, into work, into growth. And in doing so, reach deeper into yourself, because money that stays still is money that fades, but money that moves can become a part of your story. A story of courage, of growth, of quiet transformation. You don't have to leap blindly, but you must step forward, one careful step at a time, learning to trust the rhythm of growth instead of the stillness of fear. Change does not come in thunder, it comes in whispers, in small movements you almost don't notice. You wake up one day and see the path a little clearer. You take a step, not a leap, just a step, and that step begins to carry you forward. You don't have to risk everything at once. No one asks you to be reckless. Growth is patient. It waits for the quiet work beneath the surface. The seeds planted with care, the money set in motion with thought, not haste. Start by trusting yourself. With small choices, maybe it is a little money set aside for learning something new. Maybe it is a quiet conversation with someone who knows more than you. Maybe it is simply deciding to see money not as something to guard, but as something to grow, to work alongside you. You'll feel the tug of fear. It will whisper, "Stay safe, don't move." But remember, fear is only a visitor, not a master. You can listen to it without obeying it. There is no perfect moment. No time when the world stands still and says, "Now you can begin." There's only this moment, and the choice to move with it, slowly, steadily, surely. The rich do not become rich overnight. They become rich by choosing growth over comfort, by choosing motion over stillness, by planting seeds when the soil seems cold, and waiting patiently. For spring, you have held tightly for a long time. That strength is not lost. It is yours still. But now you must open your hand just enough to let a little go so it can return, multiplied, and with that return, you will find more strength than you ever imagined. This is not a leap into the unknown. It is a step into possibility, a quiet step, but one that begins to shift everything. Trust is not a sudden leap. It is a slow unfolding. Like dawn breaking quietly over the horizon. You don't notice it at first, but the light is there, growing stronger with each passing moment. When you begin to let your money work for you, you will feel something unfamiliar, a tension between hope and doubt, between the pull of possibility and the whisper of fear. That is natural, because you are stepping beyond what you have known. Growth does not scream, it does not rush, it moves with quiet patience. It feels different from fear. Where fear tightens your chest and closes your throat, growth opens your hands, it loosens the shoulders. It lets the breath come easier. You will make mistakes. That is part of the process. Mistakes are not failures. They are lessons wrapped in discomfort. They teach you where to be stronger, where to be wiser, and they show you that you are moving, that you are alive in this journey. You must learn to feel the difference between fear and growth. Fear is loud. It demands certainty. It pulls you backward. Growth is quiet. It asks for patience. It draws you forward. And sometimes, it asks you to trust even when you cannot see the whole path. This trust is not blind. It is steady, rooted in the understanding that nothing worth having comes without risk, but also in the knowing that risk managed with care becomes opportunity. You will not become rich by saving every penny and holding it tight. You become rich by learning to move with your money, by planting seeds, by tending them patiently, by believing in the slow work beneath the surface. And as you trust this process more, you will find a calm growing inside you, a quiet confidence that does not depend on immediate results, but on knowing you are on the right path, one step at a time, one day at a time. Your money is a reflection of your mind, not in some magical way, but in the very real way that what you believe shapes what you do, and what you do shapes what you have. If you believe that money must be guarded, that it is dangerous to risk, you will build walls around it, and those walls, while they may protect, will also trap. But if you begin to see money as a tool, as something that can serve you, something that grows when put to work, your actions will change. Slowly, surely your habits will follow. Mindset is not a switch you flip. It is a slow turning of the key. A soft opening of a door you didn't know was closed. And the first time you step through, you may feel uncertain. You may wonder if you belong on the other side. But belonging is learned. It is practiced. It is the quiet work of showing up. Again and again, choosing growth over fear, choosing possibility over doubt. This shift does not mean you become reckless. It means you become brave, brave enough to face discomfort, brave enough to accept mistakes as teachers, brave enough to trust that the future is not fixed, but shaped by the steps you take today. Your financial future is not written in stone. It is written in the small choices, the thoughts you nurture, the actions you repeat, and with each day, you choose to see money differently. You build a new story, one where you are not a prisoner of fear, but a gardener of growth. And this new story will not be easy. It will ask patience, it will ask courage, but it will also give you something you may have never felt before, the quiet peace of knowing you are moving forward. Not by luck, not by chance, but by choice, one step at a time. You've held tightly for so long, guarded every penny like it was a treasure, and in many ways it was, because every coin carried your effort, your hope, your sweat. But now, it is time to open your hand just a little, not because you must, but because you deserve to see what your money can become when you stop holding it back. When you allow it to reach out, to grow, to live. This is not a call to reckless risk. It is a call to quiet courage, to small steps taken with care, to learning, to trusting, to becoming someone who knows, deep down, that wealth is not just what you keep, but what you create, what you nurture, what you allow to become more than you imagine possible. You do not have to change everything at once. You do not have to be perfect. You only have to begin, one small step, one quiet choice, and with that, the door will open a little wider and the path will become a little clearer. You are not alone in this. Many have walked before you. Many have stumbled and risen again, and many will walk after you. But it begins with you, with your willingness to see money differently, to trust in growth, and to move forward, gently but surely. If this conversation has touched something inside you, if it has stirred a question, a hope, a small flicker of courage, hold on to that feeling, nurture it, let it grow, and when you are ready, take your first step. Because the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the courage to move your foot just once. And so I leave you with this. You can save every penny, but you will only become truly rich when you learn to set your money free, and in that freedom, find your own.